Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to another Saturday live stream. And as usual, we will start off Saturday live stream with the comment of the week. This week's comment of the week goes to the Atlarky. He is an Orthodox Christian. Can't remember what type of Orthodox, and I don't want to offend him by saying he's one type of Orthodox when he isn't. So just be aware he's an Orthodox Christian. Okay, so on Council of Nicaea 3, which is one of my very first videos, he says, "Oh God, you started with, quote, what the Pope ruled," end quote. Well, the Pope couldn't, quote unquote, rule, but yeah, understandable mistakes, as it is something a non-Christian wouldn't care about. This has a lot to do with the schism. Catholics believe he did rule, but that's a theological debate of church authority that nobody who is not a Christian cares about. What you need to know is that the Pope wanted to rule and the others said, nah, you can't. So the two sides excommunicated one another. And this is where the schism comes about. The first schism, there were many. The first schism comes about from the Orthodox Christians to the Catholics. And I have no doubt, in all honesty and to be fair, I have no doubt that my source was probably pro-Catholic. Unfortunately, winners write the history, and you know, archaeology can sometimes bring to light some hidden history. Other times it cannot. So I have no doubt that my source for the Council of Nicaea was pro-Catholic. No doubt about that whatsoever. I can't find anything else. And the Atlarky has told me that he has several reference books. Hey, Miriam. And so maybe I can put up another Council of Nicaea video that will be more balanced in its view. So I just wanted to say that. And so let's get on to today in history. And this one's kind of lighthearted for once. On May 1st, 1931, President Herbert Hoover officially dedicated New York City's Empire State Building, pressing a button from the White House that turned on the building's lights. Hoover's gesture, of course, was symbolic. While the president remained in Washington, D.C., someone else flicked the switches in New York. The idea for the Empire State Building is said to have been born of a competition between Walter Chrysler.
Even more so if you're in debt. But if you haven't
hang
worked with
on.
us, we can help. At Portfolio Recovery Associates, we give our customers options. We're dedicated.
That was not supposed to happen. I muted it and it still came on. Sorry about that. So anyway, the idea for the Empire State Building is said to have been born of a competition between Walter Chrysler of the Chrysler Corporation and John Jacob Raskob of General Motors to see who could erect a taller building. Chrysler had already begun work on the famous Chrysler Building, the gleaming 1,046-foot skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan. Not to be bested, Raskob assembled a group of well-known investors, including former New York Governor Alfred E. Smith. The group chose the architecture firm Shreve, Lamb and Harmon Associates to design the building. The Art Deco plan, said to have been based in large part on the look of a pencil, were also builder-friendly. Yada, yada, yada. You can go ahead and read that for yourself. It's on Today in History. But I thought it was interesting. By the way, it is May 1st. Happy May Day, everyone. Hey, Mr. Shadow Kitty. So May Day is mainly a Wiccan holiday, and I will get to May Day when I get to my Wicca series. But yeah, it's mainly a Wicca holiday. It may also be a pagan holiday. You may want to ask, oh goodness, I can't remember her name. Her screen name, not her real name, but her screen name. She is a Hellenist. I can't remember why I can't remember her name, but anyway, going on. So Nevermore is that Mexico's Independence Day? So anyway, going on. Today we are going to cover more stupid stuff in the Bible. And before I get into that, yesterday, the Raging Atheist did a live stream on responding to a guy who was fake crying. I'm sorry, I call bullshit because he was fake crying. There were no tears, okay? So, and he was like, um, I had a dream and I saw Jesus and blah 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 blah. And he's God is so patient and blah 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 blah. If you want to see it, go ahead and go to the Raging Atheist channel. It's a live stream from last night. But what I want to know is, how can he say that his God is patient? Obviously, his God is not patient. Not that his God exists in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. And we're going to find out how enormously impatient this God is. Because the people rebel and God gets mad yet again. So how many times is God going to get mad at his own people? By the way, I don't want to be God's chosen person, okay? Especially this God. Because it seems like a lot of bad shit happens. No, Marianne, it's fine. No, Tangelo always gets on my nerves. But you used your judgment, Marianne. That's why I rinsed you. You used your judgment. So anyway, and I can also put him in a timeout um if he really gets on my nerves. I can also put him in a timeout from um my own from here. So, you know, it's no big deal. But yeah, he was kind of getting on my nerves. Otangelo, if you're listening, I kind of sort of owe you an apology, kind of sort of, not really. Let's just say I'm sorry that you're dumb enough to buy all of this nonsense about the young earth. I'm not sorry that I called bullshit on your bullshit. Hey, Kevin. So, getting on with today's making fun of the Bible. So Numbers, we are starting in chapter 13. The Lord said to Moses, "Send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders." Okay. Right off the bat, we got a bunch of shit wrong with this. We have the ancestral tribes never existed, okay? The tribes of Israel are an artifact, an artificial artifact at that. What happened, and I don't even know if the ancient Israelites had this artifact of the 12 tribes. Okay, I have no idea. I would assume they didn't, but I don't know that for a fact. And I'm not quite sure anybody does for that matter. So, so the 12 tribes is nonsense, okay? The whole Exodus is nonsense, to be honest with you. Never happened, okay? Never happened. And if it did happen, why do we not find archaeological evidence of the Israelites in the Sinai Desert? If they were really there for 40 years, why can't we find anything? We should be able to find archaeological evidence, and we don't. So, anyway, moving on, verse 3. So at the Lord's command, Moses sent them out from the desert of Paran. All of them were leaders of the Israelites. These are their names. Okay, why do I fucking care what their names were? Hey, African humanist. Yes, it is awful. But why would I care what their names were? Anyway, From the tribe of Reuben, Shemua, son of Zakur. From the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Issachar, Egal, son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun. I'm guessing that's, thank you very much. The African Humanist. I'm guessing Hoshea is Joshua because it says son of Nun. And Joshua can be rendered several different ways. Verse 9. From the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi. From the tribe of Manasseh, a tribe of Joseph, Gadai, son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gamali. From the tribe of Asher, Sether, son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Nabai, son of Vopsi. From the tribe of Gad, Guel, son of Machi. These are the names of the men Moses sent to explore the land. Moses gave Hoshea, son of Nun, the name Joshua. So, yeah, there you go. Verse 17. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, "Go up through the Negev and on into the hill country. See what the land is like, and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? Do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land." It was the season for the first ripe grapes. So, what I want to know is, if God promised the Israelites the land of Canaan, right? If God promised that, why do they need to send spies out? I mean, if you're going somewhere to conquer the land, which absolutely did not happen, okay, then I would see, yeah, you need to send some spies because you need to know what you're dealing with. But if an almighty God promised a land to you, why the hell are you sending spies out to gather information? It doesn't make any sense. You don't need any information if God has promised you this land. Verse 21. Sorry guys, my eyes are just shit. So they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehob, toward, that is Rehob. Sorry, I kind of butchered the name. Toward Lebo Hamath. They went up through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. Okay, so another thing I want to know, how do they know this? If this is being written while they are in the desert, which it wasn't, okay? It was written long after. But then how do they know all of this stuff? It doesn't make any sense, no matter how you cut it. Exactly. Exactly. It does. It is crazy, right? But it's just like you don't think of this stuff until you're out of it. Verse 23. When they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. Two of them carried it on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. That place is called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. Okay, so let's stop there. 40 is a very important number in the Bible. It goes back to numerology, and believe it or not, numerology is actually a Jewish thing. Okay, it's not a pagan thing, it's a Jewish thing. And so 40 is a very important number within Jewish folklore, and I'll get to that later. But just from the land, Nevermore. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay. So all right, so let's go on. Verse 26. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea along the Jordan. Okay, let's stop there. Another thing, if you take if you believe that Numbers was written when it's supposed to have been written, when it is reportedly written according to the Christians, okay? Um, the Hittites were not even a thing at the time, okay? The Hittites didn't come until later, okay? So, why would they say the Hittites when the Hittites didn't even originate until later? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, let's go on. Verse 30. Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." Verse 31. But the men who had gone up with him said, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." Well, like duh. I mean, seriously. Okay. Let me explain something that makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. These people were supposedly slaves in Egypt. Okay. Never happened, but let's pretend it did. They were supposedly slaves in Egypt, right? Okay. What kind of overlords are going to let their slaves have weapons? Okay. Doesn't make any sense, right? So, so you got a bunch of untrained people trying to go take a land that has a bunch of walled cities and a bunch of trained armies, according to the story. Okay. Um, they're definitely right. They are so fucking right. They can't unless something happened between them leaving Egypt and them being on the desert of Paran. And hey, Beach, and you know, unless Moses gave them some kind of fight training between when they left Egypt and when they were in the desert of Paran, yeah, they're absolutely right. What kind of how are they going to um um challenge hosts of armies? Okay, so this makes no sense whatsoever. um but then you go back to God promised them the land, and like I said, well, if God promised them the land, why are they sending spies to begin with? You only send spies when you need to know what the land offers, you know. So going on, um verse 32. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." Okay, so let's stop there. Just a minute, guys. Okay, so all right, so let's take this apart. Okay, the Nephilim. All right, the entire reason Genesis gave for the flood of Noah was for God to destroy not only everybody, but Noah and his family and the animals that were on the ark, but the Nephilim. Okay, so how in the fuck do the Nephilim reemerge in numbers if they were destroyed in the flood of Noah? This makes no sense. No sense. Otangelo, if you are watching, I know you're not in the chat right now, but if you watch, I want you to think about that. For any Christians who watch this, I want you to think about that, who are biblical literalists. People who say the Bible is metaphor, they don't have this problem. But for biblical literalists, how do the Nephilim reappear in Numbers when the entire point of the flood was to wipe out the Nephilim? Chapter 14. That's pretty good, Beej. Chapter 14. That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." Um, yeah, seriously, you people have no battle training whatsoever. Why are you going to try to take over a land that has battle-hardened people? It makes no sense. Even if you buy the story, which I don't. And seriously, think about this, people. Biblical literalists, think about this. Makes no sense. Verse 5. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." Okay, so again, this goes back to why send spies to begin with. I mean, again, if God promised you the land, the only reason to send spies is spy out the land, gather intel. What are their strong points? What are their weak points? Blah, blah, blah. But it seems like the only reason for God to order Moses to send spies to the land was for them to come back and say, "We can't take the land." And then God gets mad. Whose fault is that? Verse 10. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt?" I don't know, God. How long are you going to keep stringing them along? How long will they refuse to believe in me, in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, God is not patient. This is what, the 45th time he's gotten mad just since they've left Egypt. I'm being hyperbolic here, but you get my drift. Verse 13. Moses said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear about it. By your power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night." I've already said about the volcano, but in case nobody wants to go ahead and watch my other live streams, Yahweh was a volcano god, so it would make sense that there would be clouds and fires and all that shit. Verse 15. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, "The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness." Now may the Lord's strength be displayed just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, no, Beej. And you would think, with all the records we have from Egypt, you would think there would be something. Um, Verse 18. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. Yeah, but if you remember correctly, back in Exodus, he said everyone's going to bear their own sins. Yet another contradiction. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it against the children for the sin of their fathers, you know, but I just contradicted myself because back in Exodus I said everyone's gonna bear their own sins. Yeah. Anyone else seeing the pattern here? And we're only in numbers. We're only in numbers. Okay. Verse 19. In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now. Okay. Gotta suck that god dick. Sorry, godless engineer. That is a wonderful, wonderful phrase. Because the only way you're gonna get forgiven is, sucking that god dick. So, you know, verse 20. The Lord replied, I have forgiven them as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. Okay, so isn't God the one who said forgive and forget? And, that means not keeping count, right? But obviously he keeps count because he said, and tested me 10 times. That's keeping count. Also, are they really forgiven if you're going to hold it against them and not let them enter the land that they were promised? Okay, again, doesn't make sense. Verse 24. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, how long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness, your bodies will fall. Sorry. Told you my eyes aren't very good. Every one of you, 20 years old or more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me, not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children that you said would be taken as plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explored the land, and you will suffer for your sins and know what it is like to have me against you. God, I already think had, I think they've already figured out what it is meant for you to be against them. I would not fucking want to be one of your people. Can you give me more on that, Marianne? I might be able to, answer that if you give me a little more info on what you're asking. Verse 35. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community which has banded together against me. They will meet their end in this wilderness. Here they will die. So the men Moses sent to explore the land, who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it. These men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Well, gee, that's very forgiving and understanding of you, God. Tell me about it, Lisa. Verse 38. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning, they set out to the highest point in the hill country, saying, "Now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned." But Moses said, "Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies, for the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there. Because you have turned away from the Lord, he will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword." Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. Yeah. You know what I would say? Fuck you, God. I'm going back to Egypt. Of course, this story never happened, but I mean, if it did, we're all playing let's pretend here anyway. So if it did, yeah, let's go back to Egypt. I'm all for that. Chapter 15. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, after you enter the land I am giving you as a home, and you present to the Lord food offerings from the herd or the flock, as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, whether burnt offerings or sacrifices, special vows, or freewill offerings or festival offerings. Then the person who brings an offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering of a tenth of an ephah of the finest flour, mixed with a quarter of a hin of olive oil. With each lamb for the burnt offering or the sacrifice, prepare a quarter of a hin of wine as a drink offering." Why am I getting deja vu? Why am I getting deja vu? Seems like I already covered this. Probably in Exodus. Verse 6. With a ram, prepare a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour, mixed with a third of a hin of olive oil and a third of a hin of wine as a drink offering. Offer it as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. You know, God, why can't you just be happy that they're slaughtering animals in your name? Verse 8. When you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering or sacrifice, for a special vow or a fellowship offering to the Lord, bring with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour, mixed with half a hin of olive oil, and also bring half a hin of wine as a drink offering. This will be a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Each bull or ram, each lamb or young goat is to be prepared in this manner. Do this for each one, for as many as you prepare. Yeah, Beej, apparently God likes to get drunk. Everyone who is native born must do these things in this way when they present a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. For the generations to come, whenever a foreigner or anyone else living among you presents a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, they must do exactly as you do. The community is to have the same rules for you and for the foreigner residing among you. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You and the foreigner shall be the same before the Lord. The same laws and regulations will apply both to you and to the foreigner residing among you. Well, Jesus, thank you so much, God, for telling me that. Now I won't go to Israel. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I am taking you, and you eat the food of the land, present a portion as an offering to the Lord. Present a loaf from the first of your ground meal, and present it as an offering from the threshing floor. Throughout the generations to come, you are to give this offering to the Lord from the first of your ground meal. Now, if you as a community unintentionally fail to keep any of these commandments the Lord gave Moses, this is another thing. It goes back and forth. Sometimes it's in the present, like God's giving Moses the commandments right now, and sometimes it goes to past tense. God gave the commandments to Moses. So that's another thing, you know, another thing you have to look at. Why are they going back and forth from present tense to past tense? If all of this is in the present tense, it should all be in the present tense, but it's not. All right, I got to figure out where I am here. Verse 3. And you present to the Lord food offerings from the herder of the flock as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. I guess God loves smelling animal flesh burning. Whether burnt offerings or sacrifices, for special vows or free will offerings or festival offerings, then the person who brings the offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering of a tenth of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with a corner. Okay, hang on. I'm I lost my place. Um, I'm still trying to catch up with myself. Okay, verse 22. Now, if you as a community unintentionally fail to keep any of these commandments the Lord gave Moses, any of the Lord's commands to you through him from the day the Lord gave them and continuing through the generations to come, there's another one, another past tense. Thanks, Beej. And if this is done unintentionally, without the community being aware of it, then the whole community is to offer a young bull for a burnt offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, along with its prescribed grain offering and drink offering, and a male goat for the sin offering. If it's unintentional, how the hell are they supposed to know about it? Verse 25. The priest is to make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, for it was not intentional, and they have presented to the Lord for their wrong a food offering and a sin offering. Okay, so not only are they unintentionally sinning, which they don't know that they've unintentionally sinned, okay? So they wouldn't even know how to offer a whatever the fuck God wants, you know. But then God is saying, I'm going to forgive them. Why the fuck do you need to forgive something that was unintentional to begin with? Verse 26. The whole Israelite community and the foreigners residing among them will be forgiven because all the people were involved in the unintentional wrong. But if just one person sins unintentionally, that person must bring a year-old female goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred by sinning unintentionally, and when atonement has been made, that person will be forgiven. Same questions apply. Good for you, Miriam. Same questions apply. Okay? Verse 30. But anyone who sins defiantly, whether native born or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord and must be cut off from the people of Israel, because they have despised the Lord's word and broken his commands. They must surely be cut off. Their guilt remains on them. I know, right, Lisa? Alrighty. Oh, oh, goody, we have more death. Can't be the Bible without death, can it? Verse 32. While the Israelites were in the wilderness, a man was found gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly, and they kept him in custody because it was not clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, the man must die. What, not even a warning? Seriously? The whole assembly must stone him outside the camp. No thanks, God. So the assembly took him outside the camp and stoned him to death as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 37, the Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and say to them, throughout the generations to come, you are to make tassels on the corner of your garments with a blue cord on each tassel. You will have these tassels to look at, and so you will remember all the commands of the Lord, that you may obey them and not prostitute yourselves by chasing after the lusts of your own heart and eyes. Then you will remember to obey all my commands and will be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. I'm not even going to bother. Chapter 16. And this is going to be it for today. I know. It's been a long one. Korah, son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and certain Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, became insolent and rose up against Moses. With them were 250 Israelite men, well-known community leaders who had been appointed members of the council. They came as a group to oppose Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly?" Oh shit. Actually, I don't think so. Um, verse 4. When Moses heard this, he fell face down. Then he said to Korah and all his followers, "In the morning, the Lord will show who belongs to him and who is holy, and he will have that person come near him. The man he chooses, he will cause to come near him. You, Korah, and all your followers are to do this. Take censers, and tomorrow put burning coals and incense in them before the Lord. The man the Lord chooses will be the one who is holy. You Levites have gone too far." Seriously, Moses? You're a Levite? Verse 8. Moses also said to Korah, "Now listen, you Levites, isn't it enough for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the rest of the Israelite community and brought you near himself to do the work at the Lord's tabernacle and to stand before the community and administer to them? He has brought you and all your fellow Levites near himself, but now you are trying to get the priesthood too. Um, I thought they already had the priesthood. Isn't that the Levites' portion is the priesthood? That's why they don't have any land, right? It is against the Lord that you and all your followers have banded together. Who is Aaron that you should grumble against him?" Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the son of Eliab, but they said, "We will not come." Good for you. Verse 13. Isn't it enough that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? And now you also want to lord it over us. Moreover, you haven't brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Do you want to treat these men like slaves? No, we will not come. Well, hallelujah, somebody's got some sense. Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, "Do not accept their offering. I have not taken so much as a donkey from them, nor have I wronged any of them." Pretty sure you have, Moses. Pretty sure you have. Verse 16. Moses said to Korah, "You and all your followers are to appear before the Lord tomorrow. You and they and Aaron, each man is to take his censer and put incense in it, 250 censers in all, and present it before the Lord. You and Aaron are to present your censers also." So each of them took his censer, put burning coals and incense in it, and stood with Moses and Aaron at the entrance to the tent of meeting. When Korah had gathered all his followers in opposition to them at the entrance to the tent of meeting, the glory of the Lord appeared to the entire assembly. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from this assembly, so I can put an end to them at once." But Moses and Aaron fell face down and cried out, "O God, the God who gives breath to all living things, will you be angry with the entire assembly when only one man sins?" Then the Lord said to Moses, "Say to the assembly, move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. He warned the assembly, "Move back from the tents of these wicked men. Do not touch anything belonging to them, or you will be swept away because of all their sins." So they're sinning just because they're telling me off. Oh, that's real great, Moses. That's real great. Verse 27. So they moved away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Dathan and Abiram had come out and were standing with their wives, children, and little ones at the entrances to their tent. Then Moses said, "This is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things, and that it was not my idea. If these men die a natural death and suffer the fate of all mankind, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord brings about something totally new, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them with everything that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the realm of the dead, then you will know that these men have treated the Lord with contempt." As soon as he finished saying all this, the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their households and all those associated with Korah together with their possessions. Why the hell are you punishing the wives and the children? I know, right, Nevermore? Don't question us. Just do as we say. Follow us. Verse 33. They went down alive into the realm of the dead with everything they owned. The earth closed over them, and they perished and were gone from the community. At their cries, all the Israelites around them fled, shouting, "The earth is going to swallow us too." And fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering the incense. You know, Holy Kool-Aid has on his channel a a video entitled "How Many People Did God Kill in the Bible?" I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Verse 35. And fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering the incense. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, to remove the censers from the charred remains and scatter the coals some distance away, for the censers are holy, the censers of the men who sinned at the cost of their lives. Hammer the censers into sheets to overlay the altar, for they were presented before the Lord and have become holy. Let them be assigned to the Israelites." So Eleazar, the priest, collected the bronze censers brought by those who had been burned to death, and he had them hammered out to overlay the altar, as the Lord directed him through Moses. This was to remind the Israelites that no one except a descendant of Aaron should come to burn incense before the Lord, or he would become like Korah and his followers. The next day, the whole Israelite community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. You have killed the Lord's people, they said. Yeah. How is that surprising to you? They've been doing it since the beginning. Verse 42. But when the assembly gathered in opposition to Moses and Aaron and turned toward the tent of meeting, suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron went to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from this assembly, so that I can put an end to them at once." And they fell face down. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Take your censer and put incense in it, along with burning coals from the altar, and hurry to the assembly to make atonement for them. Wrath has come out from the Lord. The plague has started." So, what? Wait a minute. This is like the umpteenth time that God has changed his mind, just in numbers. Okay, so in following books of the Bible, we're going to see God doesn't change his mind. He's already done so who knows how many times, just in the book of Numbers. Verse 47. So Aaron did as Moses said and ran into the midst of the assembly. The plague had already started among the people, but Aaron offered the incense and made atonement for them. He stood between the living and the dead, and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died from the plague, in addition to those who had died because of Korah. Then Aaron turned to Moses at the entrance to the tent of meeting, for the plague had stopped. And that's actually the end of chapter 16. But why would anybody worship this God? I mean, even if this God existed, which I don't believe, why would anybody in their right mind worship him? He is a monster. Suck my dick or I'm going to kill you. Basically, that's the basic gist. That's the basic gist. Suck my dick or I'm going to kill you. Again, sorry, godless engineer. I'm borrowing that from you, but, it's a catchy phrase. Seriously, how can Christians not understand that this is a moral monster? No idea. No idea. Reading the Bible made me an atheist. Read it cover to cover. Made me an atheist. You know what? I hear that a lot. Reading the Bible made me an atheist. Yeah, I would say so. The Bible is probably the most effective tool for making atheists. Go figure. Me neither, Marianne. You know, they only want to tell you about the feel-good stories. They don't want to tell you about all this death and all this God did this and God did that because he got pissed off. They don't want to tell you that. They just want to tell you the feel-good stories. You know what? That's fine. I'm going to tell you the whole story. And it is a story. It is not historically accurate. It is not scientifically accurate. I mean, I don't know what else to say except to say forget it. And I seriously, it's like damn. And we're only in numbers. How many people has God killed already? And we're only in numbers. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, hit the thumbs up, press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. I will have an edited video out either today or tomorrow. My editing software did come back online. Thank goodness. So, yeah. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for Atheist Church. We are covering hell. So, yeah. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.